Alright, people, let's fucking do this. Let's just finally put an end to Season 7. I'm back from Rhode Island. I'm once again by myself because my mom is out of town again. But let's finally wrap this up. At the time of this recording, I've already wrapped up my Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So now let's kill two birds with one stone. This is Shadow Play Part 2. So, as I've mentioned, like every single season premiere and finale, we get our obligatory recap.
Before he vanished, all those legendary ponies were real too, and then none of them were ever heard from again.
They used their magic to open a portal to Limbo. We need to find items that are connected to the pillars in some way.
We brought you back!
You cannot bring only the pillars back!
So yeah, series. Basically, to recap, the Starswirl and the pillars were brought back, but Sunburst and Twilight essentially doomed Equestria by bringing back the Pony of Shadows. And I guess being in limbo for over thousands of years has caused Starswirl to be a little bit weak.
It's the only way to stop him.
I only figured out how to bring you back.
Working on it. No table of contents.
Allow me to assist.
Oh, shit. So yeah, the Pony of Shadows definitely is powerful, and he knows how to plan ahead by basically destroying Starswirl's book to stop the vanishing spell.
You had some other plan.
No, I just wanted to save you. I didn't think...
Don't fret. When I extinguish the light and hope of this miserable world, you won't remember any of this.
You know, I'm kind of getting the sense that, considering this is the Pony of Shadows, I don't know if I want to make a Kingdom Hearts joke or play Outface myself from Persona 4, because we'll get into that in a moment. So, the Pony of Shadows tries to attack Twilight, but with Starlight's help, they end up driving off the Pony of Shadows.
Unraveled, and quickly.
How long have we been gone? Over 1,000 years.
Then...
Yes, so, I really like the reaction. But yes, now we get to meet who Starswirl is, since we does see that he was an ancient pony. Pony who knew all kinds of spells and put them together. And as I mentioned in the last part, he has been built up all the way back since Luna Eclipse in Season 2. AKA Episode 4 of that season. And because we learned so much about him and know how powerful Sorcerer is, let's see what he's like.
And my spell worked. Before it was meddled with.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let's get the positive out of the way before I... Now, here's the thing. Starswirl, yes, he is correct that, as I said at the end of the last part, Sunburst and Twilight did not think this entire plan through. That they didn't think for 1 second that bringing back the pillars would also bring back the Pony of Shadows and endanger Equestria. That being said, the way that Starswirl goes about it and how he talks to Twilight and by extension everybody else is not the way to handle it. He comes off as a condescending, bitter old man with delusions of higher moral aggrandizing is so grating to watch. And while the premiere has been enjoyable so far, this makes this finale tank. Well, not in that sense, but this is another example of why I still think that at Twilight's Kingdom is still my favorite season finale, because it doesn't have an asshole that's constantly criticizing the main characters, even if, admittedly, they deserve it.
And the realm has been at peace for a millennia.
Well, we did have to save everyone from Nightmare Moon and discarded Chrysalis and King Starwell and Lord T-Rex, and there was that one time when Starlight traveled through time and almost destroyed life as we know it. That's all in the past.
Yeah, it's not like that you guys were able around to try to help them out when those forces of evil were around. Oh, wait!
If you are truly this accomplished, we will stop the Pony of Shadows twice as fast together.
We shall see.
I fucking hate you. And yes, I know that he's technically in the right, But again, the way he goes about it in the entire episode is so condescending, it makes me want to rip his beard right off of his face.
It is an easy thing to say you have saved the world. It is quite another to do it.
Yeah, saying this to the ponies who have literally done this 5 or 6 times about now. Fucking prick.
Oh, we've saved the world, Beardo, and we can do it again.
Be that as it may, the problem of locating the Pony of Shadows remains.
And also giving the main 6 an apology. Oh, and trust me, it's gonna get much worse. Now, but let's just keep going before I once again find myself with a rant. So essentially, the Pillars and the main 6 decide to team up as Starswirl shows off magic and showing off the Tree of the Harmony.
This map, and indeed this very castle, are grown from the seed we planted over 1,000 years ago. And it did work.
What worked? Each of us infused a crystal seed with our magic in hopes that it would grow into a forceful root. Wait, what?
So basically, the Pillars were the ones that made the seeds out of the Tree of Harmony and, by extension, Twilight's castle. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting to know.
To leave something to protect the realm in our absence, but we never dreamed our gift would become so powerful. Y'all mean the elements came from you?
You know, the sparkling crystal things that grow from the Tree of Harmony and represent each of us? Laughter, honesty, generosity, loyalty, kindness, and magic.
I like how Pinky does magic. But yeah, it's been a long time since we heard about the elements of harmony. It just feels so good to hear about them again.
They are reflections of our own elements of hope, strength, beauty, bravery, healing, and sorcery.
Okay, and the reason why I'm picking up this book is because of... So, hope for Ursa Nebula, strength for Rockhood, bravery for Flash Magnus... Hold on, I'm flipping through this damn thing. Healing for Mage Meadowbrook. Beauty for Mistmane. And yet the book is saying selfless, so it kind of makes you wonder who was kind of in the right, because if this episode, well, pretty sure, like I said, this book came out after season 9, so I'm assuming whoever wrote this got this fact wrong. Oh, and guess what? We got Starswirl asshole moment number 2. Yeah, basically what I skipped over, essentially, is basically Twilight tries to stand up with Starswirl, but he basically gives her a look, which I am not fond of. But, like I said, let's keep going before I really drive my patience.
We had no idea our small seed would bloom into the living spirit of the land.
So they come up with a plan to try to find a way to destroy the Pony of Shadows.
But doesn't a banishing spell take a lot of power? We'd have to sacrifice the elements for that. They'd be gone forever? Starswirl, I don't think the tree can survive without the elements. If it dies, Equestria will suffer.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm really admit that the show actually bring up the word dying. I feel like a lot of deja vu in my hypothetical I brought back way back in my season 1 review of a bird in a hoof. So, what is Starswirl's response?
If the Pony of Shadows has his way, your land will not exist. So, unless you have a better idea... And the prodigal asshole returns.
So essentially a bunch of black swirls shows up, which essentially are locations to where the Pony of Shadows could be, and Starlight goes to check on Twilight, who is pretty much moping.
Are you okay? I just unleashed ultimate evil and doomed Equestria because I was obsessed with meeting my idol.
Well, at least she is aware of her mistake. It's too bad that Sunburst is not aware of it, but minor digress.
Why wouldn't I be okay?
Well, that and your idol is also a complete and total other asshole.
You didn't know that was going to happen. But I should have listened to you and left things alone. Now the elements of harmony will be lost to fix my mistake. Maybe there's another way. If there is, Twilight will find it.
So we basically then cut to the pillars and the ponies kind of interacting off each other. I mean, it is nice to see them interact, but essentially, from all the locations they tried to find, because Equestria has changed over 1,000 years, all the locations that potentially the Pony of Shadows could be is essentially null and void because it's basically been popularized.
With a Pony of Shadows. How did you come back? Didn't I get it really bright?
Yeah, so because it's really bright in a lot of locations, the Pony of Shadows really doesn't have that many places to hide.
Dark corners in the realm these days.
Isn't that a good thing?
True. The Pony of Shadows will have a hard time regaining power. When he rears his head, we'll be ready.
Isn't there some way to banish him without losing all of you? Oh, I wish there were. But to save our home, we are willing to send
I appreciate you.
to limbo.
So then, basically, Twilight comes up with a spell, and...
While I appreciate your enthusiasm, Twilight, this is hardly the time to take risks on half-baked spells.
She's an Alicorn princess, you fucking asshole! So...
This is the same person that you said, I can't fucking stand...
Yeah. I do not have any kind words to her. And, as I said, even though technically he is in the right, the way that he's going about it is all wrong. And on top of that, you're all working in with each other to stop the said evil that was brought back. X, listening to other people's ideas is... Oh, but you're not going to do that. Because in the words of Shahudun from Dynasty Warriors 8, essentially you're just an old hermit with delusions of grandeur. And essentially the rest of the main six feel exactly how I feel at this point.
Begging your pardon, Mr. the Bearded, but Twilight doesn't do anything halfway.
Especially not magic. Seriously, she got her wings by finishing one of your spells. I think you'll find her work is worth reading before you dismiss it out of hope.
And you'll get a nice slug in the face if you don't listen to her, you fucking asshole.
While it is an unconventional approach, I believe it could work.
I suppose there is a chance.
But we still have no idea where to find the villain.
And conveniently, the map actually basically gives us a location to where the Pony of Shadows knows. A place called Hollow Shade.
The only time the map called all of us to one place was Starlight Village. So it's like a supervillain tracker. No offense. Do you think the map could be trying to tell us where the Pony of Shadows is?
The Tree of Harmony acting to protect the light of the realm. Yes, a good thought, Twilight.
Twilight being a dork. It's just too bad you're admiring a complete and whole... Okay, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself.
I will make my notes on this.
Is all of you, but is banishment really the only option?
So then Starlight basically comes up with a suggestion of basically coming up with another solution aside from banishment. And I am so ready because I've been saving up a rant and I've been planning for this, getting to this fucking part. So when Starlight makes a suggestion, let's hear what Starswirl, the oh-so-mighty Beardo, has to say.
To talk?
I doubt we can save our homeland with a conversation.
Well, we can try. Starlight, I'm sure Starswirl and the others did try.
The Pony of Shadows was not interested in reconciliation. Once a villain, always a villain.
Oh. We're doing this thing, huh? The whole, once somebody is considered evil, they're always completely evil. Starswirl never heard of the concept of villains with tragic backstories, sympathetic villains, villains that were once good guys but fell to evil, or even anti-heroes? Okay, asshole. I'll play. Sure, there are unsympathetic villains and that there are all those completely evil that will well, some of those great villains would be including, say, Salem from Ruby, or probably the most recent example, Jack Horner from Puss in Boots and the Last Wish. So yes, there are irredeemable villains, but there are also villains that have tragic backstories and sympathetic villains and that like, or even anti-heroes. And because I want to argue with your logic, I have come up with a list of a bunch of characters from villains that either are villains but had sympathetic backstories, redeemable villains, and anti-heroes to argue with your logic of once a villain, always a hero. So, to counter that argument, Starswirl, I have given this list. Ramesses from The Prince of Egypt, Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series, Peridot from Steven Universe, Ramstick from Power Rangers Time Force, Penny and Uri from Zatch Bell, Gaara from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, the Panda King from Sly Cooper 3, Chidori from Persona 3, the Harbingers from Stella Glow, Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes, Emerald Stride from Ruby, Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic the Hedgehog, Roger the Blood Edge from Blaze Blue, Axel from Kingdom Hearts, Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, Ash the Bloody from Tales of the Abyss, Berkut from Fire Emblem Echoes, Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses, Scorpia and Catra from She-Ra and the Princess of Power, South from Dynasty Warriors 7 and 8, Silveria from Valkyria Chronicles 1, Chimera from Valkyria Chronicles 4, Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, Jinx from Teen Titans, Homura from Senran Kagura, Starscream from Transformers Armada, Team Sledge Mama from IGPX, and Sunset Shimmer from your own series of Equestria Girls. There's more, but I think that covers a wide range of characters that have more motives than just simply being evil, Starswirl. Alright, mega rant over. Back to the episode. So while Starlight wants to come up, Starlight basically wants to talk to the other pillars and essentially figure out what is up with the Pony of Shadows.
He became what he is now. You must have been friends, so what happened?
The tale of our rift is a sad one.
Alright, so we got to admit, so now we get a flashback to essentially when we meet the Pony of Shadows that was essentially once a unicorn pony named Stygian, as we essentially get a time where we meet the Sirens that were the main bad guys in Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks. So essentially, the show is acknowledging Equestria Girls. I just wish Hasbro would do the same.
Rest of us. Stygian was a pony like the rest of us.
And apparently the pony's name is Stygian.
Though more scholar than hero, he recognized our...
So Stygian was the unicorn that brought all the pillars together, and we do see in action that the pillars were the ones that brought together, and essentially were the ones responsible for sending the Sirens to the Equestria Girls world, and if we've seen Rainbow Rocks, we know where that leads. But essentially it's because that Stygian was more seen as an outsider, while the pillars were seen as heroes.
And we cast him out for it.
And apparently it's Starswirl that does that. And you may have noticed that in that flashback, you see that Stygian was trying to explain himself, but they didn't listen. I'll get more into that. But essentially after being cast out, after this brilliant line,
We always thought to return and seek forgiveness.
after you basically yelled at him and berated him,
But when we saw him again, his heart was bent on revenge.
yeah, so maybe it wasn't such a good idea for you guys to treat him like that. Because in the words of Syndrome in The Incredibles, I'm assuming this is what happened to Stygian, which caused him to turn into the Pony of Shadows.
It tore me apart. But I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone, especially your heroes.
It was probably something that Twilight should thought about, and essentially with him becoming the Pony of Shadows.
But why did he steal the artifacts from you? No doubt it was an enchantment to take our powers for himself.
And you guys never even bothered to ask him why before cutting him off? Jeez, I guess all the pillars really were dicks because of Starswirl. And now we now Starlight basically goes and tries to talk to Starswirl and basically comes up with an alternate solution.
Stygian was the name the Pony of Shadows gave up when he turned to darkness.
And I'm just trying to figure out why.
Envy. He wanted more power than he had, and that desire led him down a path from which there is no return.
I know from experience that's not always true. When the map called you six to my village, it was for a friendship problem. Are you sure this is different?
Stygian wants to destroy all that is good in this world. There's no way to befriend a pony like that.
So yeah, Starswirl is in this narrow-minded mindset that once somebody does something that's not in the realm of good, there is no forgiveness for them, and is not even going to listen to... Hold. Screw it. You know what, Starswirl?
You mother are a sheep wearing a lion's cloak. I'm coming and I'm gonna f your face up so that you only recognize yourself and what you look like before all your surgery.
That's what I want to do to him right now. I don't care if he's a 1,000-year-old sorcerer. Whatever he's doing right now, it's seriously pissing me off now.
I guess I'm lucky your idol wasn't around when you decided to be my friend. I might have been banished to Limbo too.
Yeah, Twilight. I referred you back to my syndrome quote. So essentially, they all get together to get to the Tree of Harmony and pull out the elements.
A necessary sacrifice. With the element's power, we will bind the Pony of Shadows in Limbo. And thanks to Twilight, we will remain to watch over the realm ourselves.
Without even listening to anyone else's suggestions.
I'm not sure. They simply work for us.
The elements are attuned to you. We must use their magic in pairs.
No problem. That knows what she's doing.
So they basically go to Hollow Edge, so count the Pony of Shadows.
The Pony of Shadows must have twisted it to his purposes.
Prepare yourselves. He is here.
Yeah, no shit, genius.
Stygian, show yourself and face us.
Yes, as we loudly proclaim our location that will no likely give away our position and lead us into a trap. I'm sure this is going to make everything go smoothly.
I definitely would have remembered reading about this.
Oh my god, they're in the land of Valor. They have to fight a non-coast. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's the Pony of Shadows.
Welcome to the well of shame. When you turned your backs on me, I discovered this place. The darkness spoke to me of a power beyond any I could imagine, and I listened. The shadow and I became one. Soon, all.
Okay, I really hate to do this because I really like the backstory of the Pony of Shadows, but you may have noticed that after the 5-minute mark, the Pony of Shadows is kind of forgotten. Like, we know how powerful he is, and I know with the amount of time Equestria has changed that he doesn't have much power, but he doesn't do anything throughout most of the second part of Part 2. I mean, I know it's just kind of the build-up to give the backstory, but, like, we don't see him come back till, like, the 10-minute mark.
Realm will be the same. Then all ponies will feel the despair I did when you cast me out. We did what we had to do.
You were such an unbelievable asshole!
You tried to steal our powers for yourself. No, it was you who was selfish. Now, you will pay!
Are you still sure this isn't a friendship problem?
And you're gonna listen to the advice of this fucking prick?
Ready? Open the portal.
No? Okay. Hey, you know what? Fuck it.
Don't mess with me! Don't mess with me! I cannot ignore those words!
I would have used it earlier, but honestly, he is so frustrating to watch that it's bogging the episode down. And it's not bad by any means, but this is kind of like what I felt about Sven Gallop in frickin' in that freaking penultimate episode in Season 5. While the episode itself is good, one character drives me nuts. So before they can banish the Pony as shadows, Twilight then sees Stygian and smartly decides to go after him. And Stygian essentially explains his side of the story to what happened.
But Starswirl says you betrayed them. You wanted their magic.
No, I wanted their respect. I brought them together. I planned strategy and I read all I could about the beasts we faced. But I didn't have magic or strength, so no pony ever noticed me. I went to Ponehenge to make my own copies of the artifacts. With them I thought I could be a pillar too, and stand by their side in battle. I never wanted to steal their power. But
So yeah. So essentially Stygian brought copies of the artifacts, not the actual things. And they didn't even bother to listen to him. And Starswirl really believed that he had evil intentions. So really, when anything is all said and done about this entire ordeal,
It's almost like all of this is entirely your goddamn fault!
yeah, so the great Starswirl the Bearded essentially is the main reason why Equestria was doomed for 1,000 years and didn't even bother to give him an apology. So yeah, all of this was entirely his fault. And yes, even though the Pillars are pretty much guilty by association, and they were just as guilty as he was, but essentially, if they would have heard out Stygian, none of this bullshit would be happening.
instead of sharing and letting me help, my friends threw me out. So I became stronger than any of them. The darkness welcomed me when no pony would.
But then Starlight basically comes in and gives her friendship spiel.
It's her.
So essentially, with the help of the power of rainbow pulling and the power of friendship, they managed to save Stygian while the Pony as Shadows is now banished forever. And I'm assuming because of this, I honestly haven't seen the Equestria Girls in a long time, he was probably banished to the Equestria Girls world, so that way it'd be their problem now.
Oh, it felt so good to do that again. Friendship power run. Wow! The elements, they didn't disappear. Maybe because we used them for healing magic instead of banishing?
Yeah, maybe that would have been a better solution instead of listening to him. Okay, forget it.
Look!
Long ago, you needed our help, Stygian, but instead of listening, we turned our backs on you. Pride clouded my judgment. I owe you an apology. Thank you for helping us see the errors of our ways, Twilight. It seems I never accounted for the magic of friendship.
Yeah, I think that's just code for him saying,
Guys, I'm an asshole. I admit it, and I will gladly accept any and all smartass remarks after this is over.
yeah.
Thank you, Swirl Starswirl. So, apparently a conversation can save Equestria?
Shots fired!
Something tells me I will be making a lot of apologies today.
No shit, Sherlock, and you owe the audience an apology for having to put up with you.
I cannot believe how tall you've gotten.
Well, it's not asked.
So the Pillars basically reconcile with Stygian.
I believe I'll have a look around before I settle in any one place.
And I long to see what has become of my home. I believe we all do.
Alright.
Then I hope you will return to Canterlot on occasion and share the wisdom of your great experience with the next generation of ponies.
Yeah, because now you got 2 generations of friendship
You see,
worlds.
look no further than your own pupil. She showed me that the power of friendship is a magical force indeed.
And that you should start listening to people.
You hurt yourself as well.
It's funny. I thought meeting my idol would give me all the answers I ever wanted. But instead, I forgot what I already knew. Good thing I had a student of my own to remind me.
Alright, so thus that was Shadowplay Part 2, and in spite of a lot of my ranting, this is a good episode. Like I said, I think this definitely elevated a lot of the season finale. There was definitely a lot of world building that the first part gave, and this part gave us some exciting action. I think really just a couple of things that bogged the second part down for me is that essentially the Pony of Shadows is just kind of there. He doesn't really do anything after the first 5 minutes, and he just kind of disappears until like the climax of the third act. And unfortunately, Starswirl, even though while technically he was in the right to dismiss Twilight, the way he did about it when the world was in danger, was not the way to go about it. And like I said, while he is technically in the right, the way that he went about it was all wrong, and he was the main reason why all of this even happened. But in spite of my ranting about all this, it didn't ruin the overall experience. I definitely liked how there was potentially some stakes with losing the elements. And Stygian's backstory was definitely interesting, and it basically shows what happens when somebody in the friend group would feel left out and would feel absolutely betrayed. Starlight was definitely the highlight of the episode, as essentially she was the main voice of reason that did everything she could to try to go for the peaceful resolution instead of just brute force. So, while this finale is good, I honestly still think Perfect Pair is still the best episode of Season 7, and unfortunately because of Starswirl making this kind of an insufferable experience, well, not insufferable, because there's a lot of good aspects that did keep me engaged in spite of him, this was still a relatively good episode. I still think that Twilight's Kingdom is my favorite finale and my favorite episode of the entire series, but I really enjoyed this episode, and I think, in spite of my ranting, of course, Starswirl, I think I enjoyed the episode a lot. So I think this part, honestly, I think probably gets about a B-, because I think with a lot of things, it just bogged down the experience for me, but it was still interesting to watch. So I think as a whole, I'd probably say this episode's about a B+. It definitely had a lot of intrigue, mystery, world building, and a lot of fan service that I definitely liked. It's just some minor nitpicks here and there, and it just drives me nuts sometimes. And the story was just kind of there. I mean, there were potential stakes, but nothing was really done about it. So yeah, so part 1 I think I gave an A-. Part 2 is a B-, so I think a B+ is an overall fair grade to give to the overall finale of Season 7 of Shadowplay. Alright, and with that, Season 7 is done. I cannot believe I am down to only 2 seasons, but before I sign off, I do need to mention something really quick. And the reason why I say this is because Shout Factory, who was responsible for sending out the Season 7, pretty much all the DVDs for not just My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but also the Transformers Unicron Trilogy, as by extension Generation 1, and every single season the Power Rangers Before Samurai, they stopped releasing the DVDs until after this season. So there is literally no North American DVD releases for Season 8 or Season 9. If you want to get physical releases of Season 8 and Season 9, there's a company that released the seasons in Malaysia, but I don't know if it'll work on a North American DVD player. Fortunately, since, as you may have noticed, I've been basically doing these reviews back on my new laptop, which is what I've been doing probably for a while now when I did a lot of my older reviews. And in case an episode of either Season 8 or Season 9 doesn't have an episode on YouTube, I did purchase all the episodes of those 2 seasons on my iTunes account, so I at least have Season 8 and Season 9 on Apple TV if I were to come to that. So I wanted to bring that up because I'm going to need a lot of it, because honestly, from what I hear, and honestly after watching all of it, especially when I was in college, Season 8 is not really a good season, and it's been declared by many of the fandom to be the worst season of all of Generation 4. Alright, so with that, next time I'm going going to have to do a lot of prep work. I'll probably need to take a bit of a break because I do need to prepare myself, especially for the season we're about to go through. So, let's just see how bad the season is. So, next time we will be kicking off Season 8 with our Season 8 premiere, School Days. Unless I basically decide to divert my attention to the 2018 MLP movie to basically compensate and prepare myself. So whichever one I go with, I'm Slickcam Gamer, and next time I will see you either reviewing the 2017 movie or the the premiere episode of Season 8, School Days, and what is regarded to be the worst season of the entire show. I am going to need a lot of help. See you guys next time. Bye.